Hi there. Welcome to your next best step. I'm Coach Janet J. Today, we are talking about the work you do that nobody sees and what that invisibility is actually doing to you. I think you are going to feel seen today. You made sure that everyone had what they needed this morning. You remembered the appointment, packed the bag, sent the card, followed up on the thing nobody else was going to follow up on. And no one said a word. Not because they do not care, because they did not even notice. It turns out your brain registers that invisibility in a very specific way. And what it does to your body might surprise you. Let me paint a picture. Maybe you are the one who knows when the dishwasher filter needs cleaning. You are the one who remembers your neighbor's surgery date. You know which family member is not speaking to which other family member, and you have been quietly managing that for months. At church, you are the one who notices when the supply closet is running low, when the new family is standing alone in the lobby, and when the volunteer schedule has a gap nobody filled. You just handle it. At work, whether it's paid work or the full-time work of managing a household, you are the person who keeps the invisible machinery running. The follow-up emails, the meal planning, the emotional temperature check on someone who seemed off last week. Now, here's what makes this different from the mental load conversation you may have heard before. The mental load is about the cognitive weight of tracking tasks, all those lists running in your head, and that is real. What we are talking about today is something deeper, the emotional impact of doing that work and having it go unseen. It is not the task list that wears you down the most. It is the silence around it. Because you can handle a lot. You've proven that. What gets under your skin is doing it day after day, week after week, and feeling like the work you pour into other people's lives just evaporates, like it was never there. And I want to sit with that for a moment before we go any further, because scripture speaks directly into this ache. Hebrews 6:10 says, God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you have helped his people and continue to help them. Did you catch what is embedded in that verse? God is not unjust, meaning it would be unjust to forget the labor you have poured out. And God does not do injustice. He does not overlook. He does not miss it. The appointments you kept, the conversations you navigated, the meals you made when you were too tired to eat one yourself. Every single piece of that invisible labor is seen fully by the one whose attention never wanders. Now, knowing God sees your work does not automatically erase the sting of human invisibility. And that is okay. Both things are true. God sees you completely, and it is still hard when the people around you do not. So let's talk about why that sting is there in the first place. It is biology. A 2024 study published in the Archives of Women's Mental Health found that the invisible cognitive labor women carry, all the planning, anticipating, and coordinating that nobody sees, had a stronger negative effect on psychological well-being than the physical tasks themselves. It was not the doing that caused the most distress. It was the invisibility of the doing. And that finding lines up with something neuroscience has shown us for years. When we receive recognition, when someone sees our work and acknowledges it, our brain's ventral striatum lights up. That is the reward center. Here is what is remarkable. A study published in the journal Neuron by Izuma, Saito, and Sadato found that social recognition activates the same reward system in a way that overlaps with the brain's response to receiving money. Your brain processes being seen the same way it processes being paid, which means the reverse is also significant. When your labor is consistently invisible, when there is no recognition, no acknowledgement, no, I noticed what you did, that reward system stays quiet. Over time, that silence does not feel like neutrality. It registers as a deficit. Workplace research confirms this at scale. The O.C. Tanner Institute's Global Culture Report found that employees who felt overlooked and underappreciated, particularly those doing behind-the-scenes work, show dramatically lower engagement, higher burnout, and a greater likelihood of leaving. And these patterns are even stronger among workers whose contributions are essential but rarely celebrated. Sound familiar? So when you feel drained at the end of a day where you did everything and nobody noticed, your brain is responding to a genuine absence of something it was designed to need. And that response deserves your attention. So here's where this lands for you today, right now. You are not listening to this because you are interested in neuroscience as a hobby. Well, maybe you are. You are most likely here because something in you recognized itself in what I described at the beginning of this episode. The appointments, the follow-ups, the emotional labor that has no line item on anyone's to-do list except yours. And I want you to know the fact that it is affecting you makes complete sense. You are human and something needs to shift, specifically in how you witness your own labor. Mentally, invisible labor occupies space in your brain that never gets to close its tabs. You are carrying open loops for everyone around you, and your mind rarely gets to rest because those tasks are never officially done. Emotionally, chronic invisibility can quietly erode your sense of value. You start to wonder whether what you do actually matters or whether you are just a function that other people have grown accustomed to. Physically, that unacknowledged stress compounds. Research links sustained emotional invisibility to disrupted sleep, elevated cortisol, and the kind of fatigue that no amount of coffee can address. Your body keeps the score even when no one else is keeping track. Spiritually, there is a particular kind of weariness that comes from pouring out without being replenished. But Hebrews 6:10 reminds us that God is keeping track, not as a taskmaster, but as a father who sees every quiet act of love. So here is your next best step for this week, and it's going to feel strange, so stay with me. Before you go to bed tonight, write down 3 things you did today that no one saw or thanked you for. The errand, the emotional labor, the thing you handled so smoothly that no one even knew it needed handling. Write them down, then read them out loud to yourself. I write them down because as long as your labor stays in your head, it stays invisible, even to you. Putting pen to paper pulls it out of the background and makes it concrete. It becomes evidence. And why read them out loud? Because hearing your own voice name your work engages a different part of your brain than reading silently. It creates a moment of witness. You become the person who finally says, "This happened, this counted." I know that might feel awkward at first. Stay with it. You are doing something powerful. You are giving your brain the acknowledgement it has been missing. And here's what makes it even more than a journaling exercise. God already sees it. He never missed a single moment. So when you read those three things aloud, you are aligning your awareness with his. You are agreeing with what he already knows about your day. So to anchor what we have covered today, research confirms that invisible labor takes a measurable toll on your well-being and that your brain is wired to need recognition, not as a luxury, as fuel. Hebrews 6:10 promises that God does not forget your work or the love behind it. And your next best step is simple. Write down 3 unseen things you did today and read them out loud. Witness your own labor. God sees it, and now so do you. On Wednesday, we are talking about something that might feel timely, especially if you have a stack of paperwork or a tax deadline staring you down. We are exploring what your body actually does when you open a bill. This is not a money episode, it is a nervous system episode, and it might change how you approach financial tasks for good. Follow or subscribe wherever you are listening or watching so you don't miss it. And if you have a moment, a rating or review makes a real difference. It helps other women find this show, and I am so grateful for everyone. I will see you Wednesday. Take your next best